Starting.
Hmm. Well, I don't. The five questions.
Looks like we are right at quorum.
Fantastic. Let's get rolling. So, welcome, panel reviewers, to our 23rd panel review convening. We have 6 counties to go, and today we're going to do three. Yeah, we're going to do three. Today on deck, we have Polk, Tillamook, and Wheeler, and I will put the reviewers in chat in just a minute. And what I want to do is first and foremost, of course, thank everybody for keeping on, and still showing up. It's couldn't, quite frankly, couldn't do it at all without you. So thank you for that. Um, Making sure that your comments directly. Zeb, it's good to see you back. Wonderful. Make sure that your answers are, answers the questions 1 through 5, but please be as summary as possible because we have 3 big counties coming up. We have Lane, we have Washington, and we have Multnomah. And I spent several hours this weekend going deep on the Multnomah County applicants, just doing some math and some spreadsheet organization and just preparing for these public meetings. It's going to be hard. So, however, we can kind of augment our preparation for y'all before we come back together, we will continue and I will continue to do that. So, thank you in advance for keeping on showing up, and all the more reason to get through these 3 counties today. Okay, while I put our presenters today in the chat, we'll have Carly take a roll call, and then I will share screen and do a call for conflict before we begin.
Amy, are you here? Dharma? Dharma is actually not going to be here. Keisha?
I'm here.
Hey, Keisha. Morgan? Ron? Zeb?
I'm here.
Hey, Zeb. Happy to see you. Hope you're feeling better. Abby?
Here.
Ariana?
You hear me?
Now I can.
Oh, okay. I'm here.
Hi. Aname? I just talked with her. I'll come back. Dana?
I'm here.
Hi, Dana. Daniel?
Happy Monday, I'm here.
Happy Monday, Daniel. Danielle?
Here.
Hi, Danielle. Drew? Elizabeth?
Drew's here.
Oh, hi, Drew. Elizabeth? Emily? Evelyn? Grace?
Here.
Hi, Grace. Gregory?
Here.
Greta?
Here.
Hannah?
Here.
John? Judith? Juliana?
Here.
June?
Here.
Kathy?
Here.
Kylie?
Here.
Kirsten?
Here. Good afternoon.
Hello. Liz?
Here.
Mark?
Here.
Maya? Megan? Michelle?
Here.
Was that,
Here.
yeah. Hi, Michelle. Nicole Corbin, Nicole Egler,
Here.
Rachel Lawrence.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi, Sam. Is she here today? Sarah Adelhart,
Here.
Sarah Hubner, Sean,
Here.
Stanley,
Here.
Tammy,
Here.
Tatiana, Tim, and we have quorum at 26.
And Amy's also here. Oh, there she is.
Here.
Hi, Amy. I'll
Hi.
mark you down.
Great.
you.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, we're going to jump into Polk County, and I'll do the intro for everybody who's tuning in. I will not repeat the whole intro for Tillamook and Wheeler, I think it's the other county. And I'm going to share my screen, just going to keep some humor in how much we have all accomplished. Okay, and for the queue, first up for Boulder Care will be June and Juliana. So welcome to review panel number 23 for Polk County, Oregon. First and foremost, let's do a call for conflicts. The applicants in Polk County are Boulder Care, Community Services Consortium, Polk County Behavioral Health, WVP Health Authority doing business as Mid-Valley IPA, and Youth Era. Are there any actual or potential conflicts of interest for any of these applicants in Polk County? Okay, hearing none. Here's our process of the 331 applications that were received on or about October 4th. There were 317 that passed the minimum scoring requirement or passed the screening process. And there were 2 reviews for each of those 317 applications, equaling 634 reviews. So thank you in advance for making those reviews possible. And then the review panel has been reading those applications and putting the scores as required by the rubric, looking at budgets, assessing feasibility, looking at county funding caps and the service area coverage, also linguistic and cultural specificity as asserted by the applicant, and then the specific service areas that, specific service experience for different populations. And here we are discussing all of that, making final funding recommendations for the Oversight and Accountability Council. The panel reviewers have accomplished 30 out of 36 counties, and the OAC has voted on 6 of 36 counties. Our deadline is to complete all of these decisions by next Friday, February 21st. Our objective as a review panel is per Oregon Administrative Rule. Once all of the applications have been evaluated and as many times as necessary, and provide final funding recommendations to the OAC. The review panel must, to the greatest extent practicable, recommend at least 1 applicant in each service area in each county. And our goal is that for all of our 36 counties in the state of Oregon, that the review panel must complete it funding recommendations, thus why quorum is so important, for the OAC's consideration when building behavioral health resource networks in each of our 36 counties. We've done attendance, we have quorum. I've noted a couple of things about housekeeping. This is not live streamed, but it's live. There are some folks watching us who are our attendees and posted to the OAC website for public consumption later. Please don't share any protected or sensitive information. As I've said, the chat is not closed, but please be cautious using the chat as your facilitator. I've got a lot of windows rolling to help keep us on track, and the chat is not one that is easily accessible for me. So please, if you have anything to add to the contribution, and for our audience watching currently or in the future, it'll be great to keep the conversation oral in the community today. We will be using chat for I gotta go, do we have quorum, and here's the motion, did I get it right, that type of function. Please raise your hand. I'll call on you. It's nicely, get populated in the order to make sure everybody has a chance to weigh in. Please try to condense your input. I know you have 5 questions to get through, but the more concise and summary it can be, the better the conversation about the burn as a whole will be, because we will be able to have to deliberate the applicants as a whole. We will review detailed information. Kathy and Ariana and Jason have been, and Kylie when she's well, have been wonderful pulling up those applications to help out, but we do absolutely prefer that the reviewer give the input if they are present, and then we'll vote at the end of the conversation. So we're going to jump into Polk County. It's a diverse region located in the western part of the state, known for landscapes, including the Willamette Valley and its rolling hills. Counties of population of just under 90,000 people of 2023. The largest city is Monmouth. The demographic is predominantly white at about 85%, with smaller percentages, about 16 of Latina, or Latino, or Latina, and other communities. Interesting, I'm seeing a discrepancy between the racial composition on the right and the one indicated on the left. I'm sure we can look at some data, right? But we do know in agricultural communities, those tend to have larger farm worker campesino communities. Polk County is a mix of urban and rural areas with significant portion of its communities and agriculture. The area is home to several educational institutions, including Western Oregon University, and the economy is largely driven by agriculture, education, and manufacturing. Median household income is $80,000. The poverty rate is just under 13%. There you have the age distribution. The intellectual disability rate during this time frame for individuals under 65 years old is 12%. Low to moderate income of 37% of the households, and the unemployment. Of all of the 5 applicants today, all 5 passed the minimum screening requirements. The countywide formula, which is for all intents and purposes a cap or a goal, we want to get our recommendations around that $8 million mark. The total applicant ask is over 11 million, leaving a deficit or an overage of $3.5 million. And here we are on our homepage. You can see that of the 5 providers on the left, Polk County Behavioral Health and Youth Era are our existing grantees because their names are in orange. You can see the average peer reviewer average score. Wow, that's really hard to read. My eyes do not like that. And on scale from 0 to 30. And then the 6 service areas. And if there's blank, the applicant did not ask to provide services in that specific service area. If the cell is green, both of the 2 reviewers recommended funding in that area. If it is blue, one of the 2 reviewers recommended that. And in orange, both of the reviewers did not recommend funding that. The program costs on the column, the third to the end, are the amount that the applicant indicates needing to run the program. And as we have seen throughout our 23 sessions together, applicants use that program cost in different ways. And you'll see, for example, today, the difference between Youth Era, which has 0 program costs, and Polk County at $1.6 million. They're just using the budget workbook in different ways. And we can ask specific questions to understand what's included in that. And then you've got your totals, which is 1.6, and those priority scores. So as reviewers, evaluate the level of completedness in the application and around specific questions to assess whether the applicant fully completed, partially completed, or did not complete the answers. On a scale of 0, 1, or 2. And we pulled out the 3 priorities of the OAC and the Oregon Health Authority, which is cultural specificity, culturally and linguistic specific service provision, providing services to underserved communities, including folks with disabilities, to the folks experienced trauma, so having trauma-informed care, gender-affirming care, services to the LGBTQIA2+, 2S+, there it is, communities. And then so wanting to pull out those values, that's on a scale of 0 to 12. That does not assess the quality of those questions, but really identifying whether the applicant filled them out completely. And we will always read the full question 7, which is the question about cultural specificity. Any questions before we move on? I don't think I forgot anything. But let's dive into Polk County. First up is, I already put it in the chat and now I can't see it, but we've got Boulder Care, which is June and Juliana. If you could get rolling, please. Thank you.
I can read number 7. Boulder Care is committed to providing intersectional, culturally and linguistically specific services to patients. Boulder maintains an active organization-wide diversity, equity, and inclusion program that engages staff in ongoing discussion educational topics using both internal and outside expertise. Boulder is focused on a variety of issues affecting its diverse patient population, for example, anti-racism, the intersection of race and the war on drugs, language education for specific populations, e.g. Native American, criminal justice, and how it mishandles addiction and harm reduction principles. Boulder Care prioritizes a diverse care team, including who will provide care themselves and help educate the larger care team staff based on their own lived experience and unique perspectives. The Boulder team is comprised of the following. 33% of the clinicians and clinical support staff identify as non-white, Black, Indigenous, Hispanic, Latinx, Asian, or more races. 80% of the clinicians and clinical support staff identify as male, and 3.6% of clinicians and clinical staff support staff identify as LGBTQIA+ or Two-Spirit. That's all of number 7. And then they are able to bill. And then they say Boulder Care partners with nearly all Oregon Health Plan CCOs to provide services to its existing patients and will first submit claims for reimbursement for clinical services to the Oregon Health Plan entities as primary payers for enrolled members referred by the burn. Standard Oregon Medicaid fee-for-service rate cards only cover about 37% of Boulder's total cost of care, which includes additional non-covered services such as peer recovery, case management, and other patient support services described herein. They've applied peer support and harm reduction. Their SUD program is medication-assisted treatment via telehealth. And their peer support is also via telehealth. They did not indicate having any boots on the ground in this county, so peer support would have been all virtual. And their harm reduction is only included Narcan and fentanyl testing strips sent to folks that are there. So it's not a harm reduction program like out in the community. Did I miss anything?
You nailed it, June. Thank
Okay.
you. Appreciate your summary answers. Any questions for June or for Juliana and her perspectives on Boulder Care before we move to Community Services Consortium with Ariana and Juliana?
I think June covered everything.
Great. Can you leave yourself unmuted, Juliana, and hop
Sure.
into the next one? Thank you.
Since June read that one, I can read Community Services Consortium. So, for question 7, they say yes, as a community action agency, all of our services are designed to support the, which in itself is a specific cultural community. In addition, we have culturally specific services for rural populations, veterans, Latino, Latinx communities, including bilingual and bicultural staff, people with disabilities, the disabled community, LGBTQIA2S plus population, and other services for BIPOC communities. We understand the intersectional nature of culture and identity and recognize that all of our participants are individuals who hold multiple identities. They currently do not offer billable services for peer support. I did not make note of any outreach into the community unless my co-reviewer did note that. It seems like they do everything in office, and they pair their clients with peer support specialists to assist them with planning, working on barriers. They did seem to have their peers integrated into their house, assisting them with they don't have an actual housing program because they don't provide housing, but they do have their peers assisting in referring their clients to different types of housing. And that's it. So they're integrated in that aspect of the housing. For harm reduction, they are doing, this is also provided by peers. So their peers are integrated into harm reduction. They're doing infectious disease screening. They're providing items such as naloxone, sterile syringes, wound care supplies, and drug checking supplies. Yep, and I think that's it. Am I missing anything?
That was fantastic. Thank
Okay,
you.
great.
Ariana, anything you want to add to the Community Services Consortium application?
I do want to add that for harm reduction, I put that costs and methods are not specified clearly, so you must. I did not, but I'm absolutely open to changing my no to a yes on that. And then I was a yes on housing because they offer these are my notes. They offer multiple types of housing currently. Emergency, family recovery, permanent, supportive, and transitional are all offered. And I think I got that from the proposed budget narrative, which I'm just re-looking at right now. Residential support includes rental assistance, utilities, application, and move-in fees and related occupancy costs. So it must have been from a different place.
It was under question 2 in their narrative. Is where they listed those items.
Okay.
But they might not have like delineated that very clearly on their budget tab.
Yeah. Okay.
And Juliana, you did not recommend funding housing for this applicant?
Did not. We had gone over this at a different, I cannot remember the county, but there was another county where in the statute it defined housing as housing like traditional transitional housing, emergency. So since they were only offering like case management around locating housing, I did say no, but I was later informed that that actually could be funded as an activity in the Greater Burn. So I would be open to changing that to a yes, if that does count as fundable for housing.
Okay, good to know for this entire applicant. Any questions for Ariana and Juliana? Next is the CMHP, Polk County Behavioral Health, and Luann, who I believe is probably still second, looking through our names, and Ariana reviewed that application. It's on you, Ariana. Thank you.
Getting there, 1 second here.
And queuing up for Kathy, you're on next for Mid-Valley IPA.
Yeah, I was also going to offer Ariana, if you need some help on that, I'm here.
I've got it right now. Okay. Question 7, Polk County Behavioral and linguistically specific services for substance use within the Latino community. We've offered support groups conducted entirely in Spanish held within the community at a local faith center. This approach allied us to provide services in a familiar, culturally relevant setting, enhancing accessibility and comfort for participants. While we are proud of this targeted effort, we acknowledge that we are currently only providing culturally and linguistically responsive services. We strive to adapt our services to meet the diverse needs of all clients, regardless of their cultural background. As our staffing allows, we are eager to expand our culturally and linguistically specific services. We recognize the value of tailored approaches for different cultural communities and see this as an area for continued growth and development. And
And they are applying for screening at 261,000, assessment the same amount. SUD at 2.1 million.
SUD, we have been providing these services since the 1980s. They have been offering that for a very long time. Assessments, they don't talk specifically about assessments. They talk about screening. They have incorporated screenings as an integral part of behavioral health and addiction for peer support. For the last decade, they've utilized peers in their SUD treatment, recognizing the powerful impact of lived experience in the recovery process.
And Ariana, on their SUD application, is there anything that should be billable by Medicaid, or are they surveying, or are they covering uninsured?
They currently primarily serve Medicaid covered, uninsured, and underinsured community members. They have contracts in place with Yamhill and Pacific Source CCOs. They also bill private insurance. The funding would allow the continuation of burn services. Measure 110 funding opens the door for people who don't have a diagnosis and treatment plan to access peer support.
Right. So that's for the peers. Just want to make sure, because the question for SUD is, are they applying for anything that is billable? And I will, yeah. So I just want to make sure we're nailing that question. Sometimes I find it under question 2 on the fiscal and technical narrative.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. They want to use it for outreach, for targeting the monolingual Spanish communities.
Right.
And offset administrative costs.
Okay.
Can I say more about that?
You can say whatever's in the application.
Oh, there's nothing more in there is the thing. So.
Oh, okay. Let's pop over to harm reduction. Can you share what their menu of services are?
Sure. They distribute harm reduction and supplies and expand their reach. They're not very specific about that. Then providing referrals for substance use related infectious disease screening and information and education. They have added access to naloxone and safer use in wound care supplies. They're going to be implementing contingency management as well.
Thanks, Ariana. Any questions about this application from anybody? The current grantee who is the CMHP? Okay. Kathy, ready to take the reins?
Sure. So it is, well, I'm WVP Health Authority doing business as Mid-Valley IPA. They are signed up for peer and harm reduction only. Number 7, it says WVP peer support programs provide culturally and linguistically responsive services for several populations through employed bilingual peer staff, including Latino, Latina, American Indian, Alaska Native, Black and African American, and white. The WVP peer programs were designed with specific care elements to support the unique needs of these cultural communities. WVP supports all community members with culturally and linguistically responsive services, irrespective of their race or ethnicity, through the use of bilingual staff and qualified certified healthcare interpreters. And 2, they are able to bill. They have a contract underneath one of the CCOs for Medicaid, but the services they offer are not billable. WVB Peer Program Division has the ability, through the utilization of its next-gen EHR, to bill Medicaid and other health insurances, since they're not doing substance use. So in their peer services, they have 5 different programs that they work with, and one of them is Moms, and then Moms Plus, and the Emergency Department Intervention Team Mentoring Services, Dads at Risk, and a resource advocacy mentoring program called They take low barrier clients and are not dismissed from program if they relapse, and they have hand-on support in the community. Their harm reduction offers activities of harm reduction are delivery and access to naloxone, safe use kits, education, and referral for hepatitis, HIV, STI, COVID-19, and tuberculosis, also vaccinations. Serve an average of 450 clients, unique clients per year. Peer will meet weekly in person or via telehealth for the first 6 months of engagement, then monthly for the next 6 months of engagement. I didn't see any harm reduction supplies listed in their budget, but I'm sure it's probably underneath their program costs. They've spread the salaries across the program and service areas. So there's a little bit in the program area, and then there's the remainder of it in their service area.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathy. Any questions, Kathy, on the Mid-Valley IPA?
That's the same. That's what I just did.
Okay. No, I'm just asking if there's any questions on it.
Oh,
before we move
sorry.
to Youth Era.
Like, do I know who I am?
And Kylie is here to help. She reviewed Youth Era, current grantee, but I know Kylie doesn't feel great. Are you doing okay to do this?
Yep, I got number 7 ready.
Awesome. Go for it.
While Youth Era does not exclusively serve a single cultural or linguistic community, we are committed to ensuring that our services meet the needs of diverse youth populations, including BIPOC youth and those whose first language is not English. To achieve this, we prioritize hiring multilingual YPSS from a wide variety of cultural backgrounds, ensuring that youth can access support from providers who share their identities, experiences, and linguistic abilities. If we were unable to offer a culturally or linguistically appropriate match from within our staff, we collaborate with community partners to facilitate connections to culturally specific resources. Through these partnerships, we ensure that every youth, regardless of their background or language, receives recovery support that is accessible, inclusive, and culturally responsive.
Awesome. Thank you. And Youth Era is only applying for peer support. Kylie, can you share a bit about how the peers are integrated and whether they work in the field or in the office?
Yeah. Let's see. They have over a decade of experience, founded by a young person who overcame homelessness with other adversities. They have an OHA approved training and have trained hundreds of peers statewide, equipped them to deliver trauma-informed, culturally responsive, and youth-driven support. And I'm trying to figure out how their peer support looks. They do talk about co-occurring challenges such as mental health, housing instability, and social disconnection, providing one-to-one support, peer-led groups, resource navigation, Narcan and drug testing kit distribution, basic need assistance, and crisis intervention. And they also offer virtual services. So I'm to in person. And they're traveling to rural areas to ensure equitable access. So they've been in Polk County for 13 years, they say, when they serve about 247.
Any questions from anybody about Youth Era?
The thing I see in here for their proposed budget, which it does talk about their annual program of supplies and food include one-on-one meals and activities, and that they have recovery group food and supplies, hygiene kits. They do offer travel expenses, and they cover community-based travel and transportation for youth. Marketing covers both in-person and online advertising. They do use Zoom, workforce management platform, and an EHR. But yeah, it looks like that their outreach is in the community, if that helps at all.
That's great. Thank you for that. That's everybody in Polk County. Any comments, questions, concerns before we move on? And I'll just note the interesting dynamic and that conversation we had about Community Services Consortium for both housing and harm reduction, which was Juliana and Ariana, I think. Moving on then. Okay, so just looking at the dollars, if we only looked at the areas that were recommended, yes, less the two I just mentioned, are still a chunk of change over the formula. And so we'll look at some options. So again, thank you to Ariana for putting together some thoughts. Again, this is not a hard and firm recommendation, but simply a jumping off point to get to a recommendation. This is conversation one. This would put a $3 million cap on all asks. So recall that in our formula, different counties have different bases, starting points, which can help inform some of this. And where one or more review are recommended, so only eliminating peer support and harm reduction from Boulder Care. Right, Ariana, go ahead.
I just wanted to speak to Housing for Community Services Consortium and call out that it is the only. Same with assessment from Polk County Behavioral Health. It's the only assessment offered. So it's worth considering that.
Right, because we do need to recommend services in every service area for the OAC to consider. Hi, Keisha. Good afternoon.
Hey, I just wanted to remove proposal burn number 1 forward with the 3 million cap, and I think that's everything that's included, even though it's in blue, right? So I just want to make a motion that we move forward, burn number.
Yes, Keisha, that's correct about the blue.
Okay, thank you, Keisha. So Keisha made a motion to move forward with potential burn number 1. Deb seconds. Any discussion? No discussion. So, Carly, would you take a roll call vote, please? Sometimes our internet poops out for just like 5 seconds. Carly, are you there?
Muted. There she goes.
Sorry about that.
We're ready to vote on Polk County.
Let's go. Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Keisha?
Yes.
Morgan? It's not here. Zeb?
Yes.
Abby?
Yes.
Ariana?
Yes.
Ane? Dana?
Yes.
Daniel?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Is Elizabeth here?
I
Oh,
am
she's
joined late, so I'm going to abstain because I missed part of the conversation.
got it. Grace?
Yes.
Or Emily, did you pop in? I don't see you still. Gregory?
Yes.
Greta?
Yes.
Hannah?
Yes.
Juliana?
Yes.
June?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Kirsten?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Got you, Mark. Skipped you, Liz. How do you vote?
Yes.
Maya? Michelle?
Yes.
Nicole Egler?
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes.
Sarah Adelhard?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Stanley?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Tatiana? She's here. That passes with 27.
Call for conflicts. Oh, Keisha, go ahead.
No, I haven't been able to open up the Tillamook one. It's like shows the first 6, 7 slides and then nothing.
Were you calling on me? This is Michelle.
No, Keisha had
Okay,
her
good.
hand. I wanted her to. Okay, good, great. Maybe Carly can try to send them again. They should be okay as PDF, so sorry if there's technical errors there. Let's do a call for conflicts with Tillamook County. Our applicants are Evidence Health Tillamook, doing business as Northwest Medical Foundation of Tillamook, Older Care Provider Group, Helping Hands Reentry Outreach Centers, Reinhardt Clinic, which is Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy, Tillamook County Community Serenity Club. Are there any potential or actual conflicts of interest? All right, and as I'm moving forward, our first two presenters are June and Hannah for Adventist Health Tillamook. Getting there, promise. Come on, wake up. All right, Tillamook. Located in the northwest corner of Oregon along the Pacific coast, known for its stunning natural landscapes, lush forests, beautiful coastline, beautiful beaches. The county covers 1,100 square miles and has a population of about 2,700 residents. Largest city is Tillamook and is the county seat. Other notable communities like Manzanita, Pacific City, and Bay City. The area has a diverse demographic with a median age of approximately 47 years. The economy is driven by agriculture, particularly dairy farming for our Tillamook cheese, fishing, tourism, forestry. Population is predominantly white with small percentages of Latino, Latina, Native American, and African American residents. County offers a tranquil rural lifestyle, popular destination for hiking, fishing, and beachcombing. Median household income, $66,000. Poverty rate is 12%. ID rate is 16.8%. There's your age distribution. Low to moderate income is 37%. Unemployment rate is 4.2. Of the 8 applications submitted, 6 passed minimum scoring requirements. They're the 6 I went through in the conflict a minute ago. The total countywide formula is $3.5 million. The total countywide ask in the 6 applications that passed the minimum scoring, leaving a surplus of $486, about $500,000. Okay, so Adventist Health and Reinhardt Clinic and Tillamook County Community Health Centers are our existing grantees for Tillamook County. I need to step away for about 35 seconds, so I'm going to hand the baton over to Hannah and June to summarize question 7, the SUD, and whether it's all of it is billable to non-Medicaid covered services or individuals, and a summary of their harm reduction. Please take the baton.
Okay, I can jump in for question 7. They wrote, recognizing that we serve a county that is comprised of approximately 80% white residents who do not identify ethnically as Hispanic or Latino, according to the most recent U.S. Census Bureau data. AHTM partners with a diverse group of organizations which share resources on best practices for diversity, equity, inclusion, and are continually working to identify areas where we can advance and improve. We understand we cannot be effective in promoting harm reduction, treatment, and recovery for SUD, OUD if we are unable to provide low barrier services for our entire community. To this end, AHTM and its partners remain fully committed to ensuring that all staff who will be involved in the proposed project will uphold culturally and linguistically appropriate services standards through ongoing cultural competency training, consortium partners employ bilingual staff and provide free aid and services to individuals with disabilities. Education materials, intake forms, and provider treatment instructions are made available in the participant's primary language. Free HIPAA complaint interpretation and translation services are also available at inpatient and outpatient facilities, providing access to more than 200 languages. So that is their answer to culturally and linguistic services. They don't provide culturally and linguistically specific services or responsive services, but they do support and offer trainings. Next question was if their services are billable to Medicaid. They are, so they said yes. Northwest Medical Foundation of Tillamook, DBA Adventist Health Tillamook, offers health care services that are eligible for Medicaid or other health insurance reimbursement and bills Medicaid and other health insurance as applicable for services rendered. AHTM lives out its healing mission of living God's love by inspiring health, wholeness, and hope through its critical access hospital located in Tillamook County. So they do have billable services. And I'm going to pause there. I know that there's questions on peers. June.
Yeah, I can step in.
Okay.
I can step in. So even though they're able to bill, the services that they're wanting to provide are not billable services specific to offering MOUD in the jail, and that is not a billable service, including the project coordination, RN care coordination, and outreach and contingency management program and incentives. So I did want to throw that out there. That is their whole proposal for their SED program, is that they're wanting to continue to provide those services to those who are incarcerated or those that are leaving the jail. They also provide some other services under their SED, but most of it is around those folks that don't have insurance due to being incarcerated. Their harm reduction program is supplying Narcan and wound care kits to individuals in their family treatment program, along with contingency management to keep individuals engaged. Is at least what I saw in their harm reduction program. I didn't see any other any other supplies or anything that they planned on providing through that program. I think that was it.
Thanks, June. Thanks, Hannah. Any questions? I do want to flag that we don't have an applicant for screening or assessment. So just keep that in your heads as we're walking through this together. Next is Mark and Kylie for Boulder Care. I know we have Kylie. Do we have Mark? Don't see Mark.
I'm here.
You are here. Hey, Mark. Can you take it away for question 7 for Boulder Care?
Yeah. It's only turn up my audio a little bit, just like all of a sudden went down. Can you hear me? Okay. Well, I think we've heard this before. So, question 7, Boulder Care is committed to providing intersectional, cultural, and linguistically specific services to patients. Boulder Care maintains an active organization-wide diversity, equity, and inclusion program that engages staff in ongoing discussions and educational topics. Using both internal and outside expertise, Boulder's focused on a variety of issues facing its diverse patient population, for example, anti-racism, the intersection of race and the war on drugs, language education for specific populations, Native American, criminal justice, and how it mishandles addiction, harm reduction principles. Boulder Care prioritizes a diverse care team, including clinicians and care advocates, who will provide care themselves and help educate the larger care team staff based on their own lived experience and unique perspectives. Currently, the Boulder Care team is comprised of the following: 33% clinicians are and clinical support staff identify as non-white, Black, Indigenous, Hispanic, Latinx, Asian, or 2 or more races. 80% of the clinicians and clinical support staff identify as female and 20% as male. 3.6 of clinicians and clinical support staff identify as LGBTQIA plus or Two-Spirit. When it comes to Medicaid billing, yes, they do bill Medicaid. Boulder Care partners with nearly all Oregon Health Plan CCOs, provide services and to existing patients, and will first submit claims, earn reimbursement for clinical services to Oregon Health Plan entities as primary payers. Enrolled members, referred to by the BURN, standard Oregon Medicaid fee-for-service rate cards, only 37% of Boulder Care's total cost of care, which includes an additional non-covered services such as peer recovery, case management, and other patient support services described therein. And then for peer, looks like, well, we talked about this before, projected spend reflects clinical care staff expenses associated with offering low barrier telemedicine SED treatment via peer support services. And for harm reduction, they are requesting funds for harm reduction efforts through the distribution of Narcan and testing strips.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Questions for him? Okay. Helping Hands, both John McElveen and Maya Wolf are not here today, so can Measure One team pull those up and help us out to talk about their peer support and housing requests at 277, 514.
That was for Helping Hands?
Yes.
Right. Sorry, every now and then the Zoom shuts down on me and pops right back up.
Helpful.
Yeah, I know.
At least pops back.
So helpful. Make sure I'm in the right place. They did not number these. While we do not provide any specific cultural or linguistic services in Tillamook County, we do partner with Linguava for all translation services. Our approach is grounded in the principles of trauma-informed care. We recognize that individuals experiencing homelessness and behavioral have histories of trauma, and our services are designed to foster a safe, supportive environment. Collaborate with local behavioral health providers and culturally specific organizations who deliver services tailored to the diverse populations we serve, including BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, LGBTQIA+ individuals, and those with disabilities. Our team is trained to implement strategies that are sensitive to cultural differences and trauma histories, ensuring that each individual's experience is honored and respected. Additionally, our services are designed to meet the Americans with Disability Act requirements, providing accommodations to ensure accessibility for all individuals. And they're doing peer and housing. One document has one answer and the other document has the other answer. They have Helping Hands Reentry Outreach Services became a health-related services network in May of 2024 and applied for community capacity building funds to develop the abilities. This was supposed to be their answer to whether or not they can bill Medicaid. Helping Hands is building capacity to build Medicaid and other health insurance providers, but does not yet have that ability. So that answers that. I'm going to go straight into their proposed budget, and hopefully they will have some narrative in there. And they are doing peer support and housing again. The peer support funding is to assist the salary and benefits of peer support specialists in our Tillamook County facility. It does not tell you how many there are. My guess is that there's one, because the cost is approximately anywhere between $35,000 and $40,000, up to $40,000 each year. Funding, they have program supplies. This funding is to assist with purchasing peer support program supplies for our Tillamook County facility. And they're looking for supplies to maintain the program there. It looks like they offer some low barrier emergency shelter and long-term transitional housing and comprehensive case management and navigation services, and community need for our services is more critical now than ever. So that covers their housing is emergency shelter and long-term transitional housing. And they are looking at to reach a bed utilization in year one rate of 80 to 85% at our Tillamook County facility, serving as many individuals in the county as possible who are struggling with homelessness. They do have boots on the ground. They have outreach centers that help with the crisis of homelessness and behavioral health challenges. And they don't, it sounds their peer services are pretty integrated with their housing, because it all looks like it goes hand in hand in what they're talking about.
Great. Thanks, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Zeb, please go ahead.
Yeah, Kathy. Does it say that they have a facility right? Okay.
It is saying that they have an outreach. Let me see. They have a Hope Center.
Oh, okay.
Is what it's saying. That they have. They gave some helping centers is uniquely positioned to address these gaps. They operate the Helping Hands Reentry Outreach Center on Headquarters Street, which provides emergency shelter alongside long-term reentry programs. So it sounds like, yes, they have facilities.
All right. I was just wondering if they had any capital in their budget, but it sounds like they have a place. So
I would have to look at that budget a little bit closer.
It's small budget.
As soon as my computer listens to what I'm doing. It looks like their housing, their narrative says the funding is to assist with the salary and benefits expenses of our staff members in Tillamook County. The only thing I see is facility expenses that are $64,000 over 4 years. The funding is to assist with purchasing and maintaining our housing program services and supplies for food, education, and hygiene in Tillamook County.
all right. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate it. And
You're
Abby, I
welcome.
just was making sure that there was no capital cost and
Totally.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with that. I don't see that listed here at all.
Great. Okay. Kathy, thank you. Appreciate it. And next we have Reinhardt, and Juliana is here. They just applied for
Yeah.
$380,000 for harm reduction. So
Yes.
could you read question 7 and describe their harm reduction offerings, please?
Yes. So for question 7, their answer is very brief. It just says MBHCP's patient demographics include a small Latinx cultural community, and they put in parentheses 8%, and that's it. They're not applying for peer funding. It's just harm reduction. Oh, I'm so sorry. I skipped a question. They can bill for Medicaid eligible services, but they say the trainings, personnel, and supplies requested for this funding are not included in M110 or paid for by Medicaid. As for their harm reduction, they are offering peer-delivered harm reduction outreach. So syringe services at 3 locations, distribution of naloxone. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I have the wrong workbook open. Okay, I'm sorry. For Reinhardt, let me go back to that question. They can and do bill Medicaid. They described a tracking process, but not how the grant would not supplant M110 covered services or if these are covered by Medicaid. And so Reinhardt, their harm reduction services will be provided by registered nurses who already are providing case management. Services include education and information, one-to-one counseling on how to reduce harm, and harm reduction supplies and wound kits. They just noted that the services will be provided to individuals living in rural areas, but didn't provide linguistically or culturally specific services. And they said that they would be doing harm reduction activities, but they didn't specifically describe what the harm reduction would be. They didn't mention any harm reduction supplies. There was no mention of clean needles, naloxone, safe sex supplies, anything like that. And I didn't see anything in their narrative or their budget. I think that's it.
Okay. Any questions about this one? Oh, since you're the different workbook open, I assume there's a different answer for question 7, perhaps?
Oh, I believe I read the correct one for
Okay.
Reinhardt, but let me double check here. Yes, that was Reinhardt. So just that their demographics include a small Latinx cultural community.
Okay. Any questions for Juliana on the Reinhardt Clinic?
No, but I would love to read Ron Williams' answer to his harm reduction because it's completely opposite of Juliana's.
Oh.
So that's why I'm speaking about that. I wonder what Ron wrote about it.
Yeah, because Ron couldn't join us. Thanks, Kathy.
And so proposal is well defined with good details and service descriptions. Outreach and engagement practices are limited in details, and there are no listed hours outside of normal business hours. It was unclear in proposal how RNs would carry out community outreach and engagement. Proposal does not specifically address communities most impacted on the war on drugs or culturally specific communities. Budget also seems quite low for harm reduction supplies relative to population needs. However, proposer is the only provider of harm reduction service and should be funded with consideration to increase harm reduction supply budget.
And that's for Reinhardt, but I'm looking at 3 other.
Yes, I double checked. It's the Nehalem Bay.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's from Ron Williams and looking at his harm reduction. That's what I was just reading what he wrote.
Great. Thank you for sharing. That's why we have 2 reviewers and for everybody to consider what they're hearing. Any questions for Kathy's reading of Ron's responses or for Juliana? For Reinhardt Clinic? Okay. Next, we're moving on to Tillamook County, the CMHP in that community. And I failed to pull up my list of who's reviewing, but if someone who is a reviewer could read question 7, and they're only applying for harm reduction, and I will pull up my cheat sheet here in a minute.
Hi, this is Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
Hello.
And Juliana again. Great.
Okay, number 7, Cultural and Linguistic Services, Tillamook County's 2023 census data reported a Hispanic population of 11.4%. The health center patient census is 25% Hispanic Latino. To meet patient needs, we employ staff who are bilingual in English and Spanish. Additionally, written materials are available in both English and Spanish. Finally, video and telephonic interpretive services are readily available in hundreds of languages should the need arise. These capabilities enable the staff to provide inclusivity based on patients' culture and language in a manner that is relatable and fosters informed patient engagement and treatment plans. Our communication plan addresses outreach to underserved communities and populations. And that is the end of
that is
7.
the end. All right. And so harm reduction for about $500,000 or 463. What are they offering to do over the 4-year grant period?
So they have got, let me see here. Harm reduction supports included peer delivered outreach, supports monitoring, recovery services, through a contractual partner with current state funding, the health center has hired a part-time harm reduction coordinator. These funds will be depleted and will no longer be available prior to the start of this grant period, so there is no supplanting. The harm reduction program facilitates syringe service programs in 3 different locations throughout Tillamook County that are strategically selected to reach the largest catchment area possible. These provide safe syringe exchange, distribution of sharps containers, distribution of Narcan, and the ability to refer participants to community resources or medical care. And they also want wound care, clean needles. They state on average, approximately 1,600 syringes are exchanged monthly across these sites, and participation has seen a steady increase over the duration of the program. They also want hygiene, personal care items, and I think I saw $20 gift cards to Fred Meyer, so like a contingency management incentive type program included. And they want enough Narcan to have community events where they provide education on Narcan and pass out Narcan about 4 to 5 times a year. And they are also, most of this though is they also want to fund a couple of positions. One is 0.4 FTE and the other one is 0.5 FTE for a public health representative and a harm reduction coordinator, because they have a medication assisted treatment program. So this would help their licensed therapists coordinate too, and at the syringe exchange.
Thank you. Juliana, anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, nothing to add there. That was very
Okay.
thorough.
Any questions about this application? Last one on deck for today is Tillamook Serenity Club, and both June Okie dokie, need to correct it. They should be orange.
And I can start by reading 7. It's a 1-sentence answer. Currently, TSC offers a Spanish bilingual NA meeting 3 times a week. That's the answer to number 7. What they're wanting to use this funding for is they have like a drop-in center, and so they're wanting to use the funding for to keep that up. I believe that that may have been what they were funded for before. So rent and stuff, it does look like they would have 1 FTE peer there at the facility, and that they have like a bunch of groups, like NA groups and other self-help groups that meet there, but it would be open to everyone as like a safe place to go and hang out. Their budget, they didn't list, other than salary, they didn't break down how their budget would be used. They just put it all together in their services and supplies costs to be used to continue programs that were implemented with the previous award grant funds, grocery cards, fuel cards, community partner events, and monies to keep the building open daily. So to like them doing a whole lot of community outreach other than like partner events, because their FTE is going to be located at the building to keep the doors open for folks.
Okay, thank you. And thank you again, Kathy, for confirming. I'm loving the docs. I do show that we are meeting until 4:30 today. I hope folks can, is that still right, Carly? I thought you extended us. Yep, okay. So we'll make that correction that they are a current grantee. They should be in orange on the left there. Any questions about any of these applications or any clarification before we move on to discussing recommendations?
Oh, one other thing, they do not bill. They're not able to bill. They're just they're just a little drop-in center.
Thanks, June. That's clear. Yeah, Zeb.
Yeah, I guess what I'm struggling with is it's a great thing to have a community spot where people can go to and be safe. I'm struggling with this is a competitive grant process, and I don't know why they scored so low on their average scores. Could somebody enlighten me a little bit on why they scored so low?
Yeah, the reviews for Tillamook Serenity Club, it was not the strongest application, both in terms of organization and how like well written their answers were and things like that. Also, let's see. it looks like, but I'm being understanding that their application wasn't that strong because it sounds like they might only have 1 or 2 employees and they're just kind of keeping this place open to host Narcotics Anonymous meetings, 12 recovery. So it seems like a very small organization. Let me see, anything I gave a 0.
Yeah, I have to agree. I scored the application low because it wasn't a well-written application. But I would say that what they want to do with it would provide a much needed resource in the community, and that's why I recommend it.
Any other questions, Zeb?
No, I'm just thinking back and forth in my mind about, going by the scoring system and then seeing the intent of the grant. But
Yep.
I can think of that in my head.
Okay. Thank you. And what we also need to make sure we're discussing, or at least asserting any recommendations or thought, particularly folks who come with more SUD expertise, is ensuring that screening and assessment is covered in this community as well. So unless there's any other questions about the specific providers or applications, I'm going to move forward to the next slide. Okay. We've been here before. We know the deal. I'm going to move on to this. So this is a total of it's basically all of the review, everything, leaving just shy of $500,000. And so I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this, but in thinking about moving this forward to the OAC and ensuring that every service area is covered and this is not, did folks who were reviewers have any thoughts or recommendations for which potential providers you would want the OHA or the OAC to contact to lean in with those funds? June does.
Yeah, I mean, the CMHP for this county already has to do screening and assessments typically. Like they're already doing those services. So, I mean, that would be an option, going to them and saying, hey, could you do it with $500K for the next 4 years? I mean,
And that's
honestly.
Tillamook County Community Health Centers. Okay, thanks, June. Keisha?
Yeah, I was thinking that we don't try to fund what's on here, but like outreaching for screening and assessments to be provided by another organization or something.
Say more.
So like we have to have a full burn.
That's right.
And right now, screening and assessments, I know they say that the local mental health authority does it, but we can't see it like visually, like it's being done. And so they say, if we don't have the service, that OHA can contract for those services.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just thinking not to touch the overage money and leave that for contracting for screening and assessments.
Right. Great. Okay. I think we're all saying the same thing using different words, so that we've got almost $500,000 and that OHA would potentially contact one of these applicants or somebody else in the community to conduct screenings and assessments. And we've got all sorts of applications coming in at under $250K each for those. So any other thoughts about that? Greta?
Yeah, I just want to clarify something because I might be getting confused. Is Tillamook County Community Health Centers the CMHP, or
Yes.
is Tillamook Family Counseling Center the CMHP?
believe Kathy confirmed it was Tillamook County Community Health Centers, but
It does say in the list that I checked this morning that it's Tillamook Family Counseling.
oh,
And I think that's a different, yeah, that's a different, those are two different organizations. So I don't
thank
think the
you.
CMHP applied. So that's just what
Thank
I wanted
you.
to verify because I was a little concerned about that.
Thank you for putting that on the record that the CMHP did not apply. Okay. All right, I'm going to move forward to the next slide, see if we have any. Nope, that is the end. So now I have to go back. Okay, so I don't think I need to make it bigger, but oh, and thank you for Ariana for changing Tillamook Serenity Club. Any other discussion or recommendations about Tillamook County? Ariana.
One thing that comes to mind, and this is definitely up to the OAC, but I would like to suggest that we could possibly ask Adventist Health to do screening and assessment since they are doing SUD. And I know that's something that Boulder Care does not do typically.
Okay.
Just putting it out there.
Noted. Keisha.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a motion that we move this formula forward, leaving it open to contract with providers to do screening and assessment.
Okay, Keisha made a motion to move forward with I don't know what
It
slide.
it doesn't have a number on it, so
No,
it's
let
just
me see if I
one.
can tell you what slide it is. It is the only it is the only potential.
The only option.
Right. So this is slide 16, which is funding all of the applicants for Tillamook County, and that OHA would pursue screening and assessment with an appropriate entity. Does that sound right, Keisha?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. So
What was
Keisha
that
moves.
motion? You want to move forward Tillamook County to the OAC and remaining funds would go to
Would OHA would contract with an appropriate entity for screening and assessment.
I second.
Keisha moves. June seconds. Any discussion or clarification? Keisha, your hand's up. Is that new?
I didn't put it down.
Okay, sorry. All right. Okay, Carly, let's vote.
That's correct. Let me make sure that first. And who first and seconded again? I'm sorry.
Keisha moved June 2nd.
Thank you.
Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Keisha?
Yes.
Zeb?
Yes.
Abby?
Yes.
Ariana?
Yes.
Ane? Oh, she's here. Dana?
Yes.
Daniel?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Elizabeth?
So sorry, that took forever to get to mute. Yes. So
Got you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Grace?
Yes.
Gregory?
Yes.
Greta?
Yes.
Hannah?
Yes.
Juliana?
Yes.
June?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Kirsten?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Nicole Eckler?
yes.
Rachel?
Yes.
Sarah Adelhart?
Yes.
Sean? Is he still here?
Yes.
Thank you. Stanley?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
And that passes with 27.
You didn't get mine, Carly.
Oh,
Kathy with a yes.
well, that passes with 28. Sorry about that, Kathy.
Okay, we're cruising. We're gonna jump right into Wheeler County, our last county for today. Share slideshow. Wake up. Let's go. Okay, there we go. Wheeler County, Oregon. All for conflicts. Is there anybody who has an actual or potential conflict with either Boulder Care or Community Counseling Solutions in Wheeler County, Oregon? All right, hearing none. Back to where we pick off. Wheeler County is a vast and predominantly rural region known for its stunning natural landscape, including the scenic John Day River and portions of the Choco National Forest. Population of 1,400 residents, making it one of Oregon's least populous counties. It's primarily white, with small percentages of Hispanic and Native communities. The county seat is Fossil, small town that reflects the area's rich history in ranching and agriculture. Economy is mostly driven by agriculture, timber, and rock hounding, attracting tourists to the fossil beds. Close-knit community, strong connection to the land. So 1,400 residents as of 2023, 51,000 is the median household income. Poverty rate's at 10%. Intellectual and disability rate is just under 90% of people under 65 years old. Approximately 41% of the households are low to moderate income, and the unemployment rate is 3.6%. The countywide formula is 2 million because it's a small county, and both of the applications from Boulder Care and Community Counseling Solutions passed minimum scoring requirements. Their total asked together is 20.02, sorry, $2,020,514, which is $20,515 over the countywide cap. All right. Here's our applicants. You can see that Boulder Care and CCS are both existing grantees for the Behavioral Health Resource Network in Wheeler County. CCS applied for all of the 6 service areas, and both of the reviewers recommended moving forward and funding those. And Boulder Care applied for SUD, peer support, and housing in this application, which is a new one for us. But for peer support and housing, only one of the 2 reviewers recommended moving forward. And there you've got the average reviewer average and the priority scores as well. And I've already closed my window that has the reviewers, but that's okay because I'm going to pull it right back up. And they are both Kylie Cordy and Stanley Medity for both of these applications. Let's go ahead and get started with Boulder Care.
All right, I'll read question number 7. It's the same response as the other counties, but I'll continue to read it. All right. Boulder Care is committed to providing intersectional, culturally, and linguistically specific services to patients. Boulder maintains an active organization-wide diversity, equality, and inclusion program that engages staff in ongoing discussions and educational topics, using both internal and outside expertise. Boulder is focused on a variety of issues affecting its diverse patients, populations, for example, anti-racism, the intersection of race and the war on drugs, and care advocates who will provide care themselves and help educate the larger care team staffs based on their own lived experience and unique perspectives. Currently, the Boulder team is comprised of the following: 33% of clinicians and clinical staff identify as non-white, Black, Indigenous, Hispanic, Latinx, Asian, or 2 or more races. 80% of the clinicians and clinical support staff identify as female, and 20% as male. 3.6 of clinicians and clinical support staff identify as LGBTQIA plus or Two-Spirit. And that's question 7.
Great. Thanks, Stanley. Can you jump into their SUD, peer support, and housing and summarize how they're not going to supplant or use funds that are only for non-Medicaid purposes and what the peer support and housing offerings are?
I am looking. It looks like the same thing that they had in the other ones because I've done Boulder Care several times. SUD treatment is the low barrier substance use disorder treatment and telemedicine. And the peer support is supporting with resources, screening, and assessments during course of the individual's treatment plans. And the housing. I don't see housing.
I wonder if that was a typo. Is it harm reduction?
It's harm reduction. That's
It
what
is
I
harm
have on
reduction.
mine is harm
Okay.
reduction.
All right. Kylie, do you affirm that error as well?
Yeah, it's typically harm reduction, and
Yeah. Okay.
where
I'm
I've
gonna
known them to
bump
be.
that $1,100 ask over to harm reduction. That would make a lot
And
more sense.
it's for Narcan distribution.
Okay. Sure, Ariana's in there already editing, and we'll see it when I refresh my screen.
Okay. Eligible for Medicaid and other insurances.
Yep. Any questions for this Boulder Care? That's an existing provider in Wheeler County. Okay, CCS, both Kylie and Stanley, you are up again.
I can read number 7.
Are you sure? Because I got it highlighted. I can do it if you need me to.
Whichever, Stanley. I'm here, you're there.
You sound worse than me today, so I will go for you. I'll read for you.
The battle of illness. All right.
Just help me out on the other questions. Here we go.
Got you.
Culturally and linguistically specific services. CCS is dedicated to incorporating cultural competency framework into its behavioral health services to ensure that care is effective, understandably, and respectful of the ethnic and linguistic backgrounds of those served. This commitment includes assessing and addressing religious beliefs, abilities, and other axes of identity to provide individuals services that honor and align with each person's beliefs and needs. CCS has also implemented a series of strategies to recruit, retain, and promote a diverse staff and leadership that reflects the demographic characteristics of the areas we serve. To support these efforts, CCS conducts regular organizational self-assessments of culturally and linguistic appropriate services, activities, and integrated cultural and linguistic competency measures into audits, performance improvement programs, and patient satisfaction evaluations. We collect and integrate data on patients, race, ethnicity, and language into a management information system and maintain a current demographic and profile of the community. Additionally, CCS will ensure that conflict and grievance resolution processes are culturally and linguistically sensitive and regularly update the public on progress related to CLAS standards. And I do want to say that this is a little challenging because they did not number.
I can talk about the SUD portion.
Okay.
And the Medicaid aspect. So they are providing services because their previous provider covered by past Measure 110 funds to maintain current positions that were funded. So existing roles such as SUD navigator, CADC, peer support staff will continue to be supported without reallocating grant resources. And the application, and within this application, it seeks to add 2 new roles, harm reduction coordinator and care transition coordinator. And they identify that these M110 funded positions are used to resources such as expanded outreach, peer support activities, and coordination of services without disruption of fundamental support. So that's that answer to number 2. I do have, I don't know if Stanley, you have it open, but I also have what they're doing with peer and housing.
I'll let you take it away if you have it open.
Sure. So the SUD is talking about MOUD access, so medication for opioid use disorders. And they already work with Boulder Care. They identify in their application. They used together with peer support services. They are using CRMs to have boots on the ground efforts and community outreach. They are responsible for providing direct peer support services, referrals and treatment, and offer individuals navigating. And they also use for peers and housing. It says here that they use that it's appears to be housing options include emergency, long-term supportive housing and hotel vouchers, and rent or other financial housing assistance. And they've allocated for flexible funding to assist with direct payments for these options. And they work with cost sharing model with Gilliam, Grant, and Morrow counties. Stanley, I don't know if you have any additional things.
I was just about to add the cost sharing, but you already got that.
All right.
Great. Thank you. Anything else to add? Any questions? Keisha.
I didn't hear if they can bill Medicaid or not.
They can bill Medicaid, but they're not for these services that they're asking. It's a lot of personnel to do the work for this.
Peers. Yeah. And they Community Counseling Solutions is the CMHP in Wheeler County. Any other questions?
I'd like to make a motion if I could.
Yeah, go ahead, Deb.
I was just, I wanted to put in a motion, but I wanted to move the $20,000 overage, like deducted from Community Counseling Solutions to make it the even million. I mean, 2 million, sorry.
Lakeisha, we were thinking exactly the same thing. So
Go ahead, Zeb.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to move forward the recommended programs minus the $20,514.95 from Community Counseling Solutions to match the allotted amount for that county.
Second.
Deb moves, Keisha seconds. Discussion. We'll make sure Kathy gets that in the chat, and so it's pretty clear. Here it comes. Questions, discussion. All right, let's vote.
Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Oops. There we go. Keisha?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Abby?
Yes.
Ariana?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
Daniel?
Yes.
Danielle? Are you still here, Danielle? Drew? Oops, I was frozen. I see you, Drew. And did I miss Danielle? Was I frozen?
Danielle also said yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Elizabeth?
Yes.
Grace?
Yes.
Gregory?
Yes.
Greta?
Yes.
Hannah?
Yes.
John? Juliana?
Yes.
June?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Kirsten?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Nicole Egler?
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes.
Sarah Adelhart?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Stanley?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
And that passes with 28.
Fantastic. Wonderful job today, everybody. On the side, I've been messaging the folks who have been, the team who's been putting together all of the presentations, and that was really fast, and we still have 45 minutes, and I hate to lose it. But if we haven't sent out the materials, Carly, we haven't really noticed which counties will be up. I don't want to move forward if folks aren't prepared or if it's not the legal or ethical thing to do, of course. Ariana?
Just to say that each of the last counties that remain are Washington and Multnomah and Lane, and all of them will be difficult.
I was thinking about Union. We have Union and Yamhill as well. There are 5 counties left. I counted wrong because counting to 36, I guess, is challenging. But it was Union County I was thinking about trying to tackle, but I don't want to, of course, I don't want to do that if it's not what we should move forward with. But do folks have thoughts about jumping into Union or not?
I don't mind jumping in if
I have Boulder Care and could do that. I'm here.
Look at this solution focus group. We've got Ariana and Keisha with their hands up.
Yeah. Or for me, I would like to time back because we got to hop on a long meeting real kind of
That
soon.
is very true. The OAC is meeting tonight until 6:30.
Oh boy. Well, that might be nice to actually get outside for a minute.
Yeah, go smell some fresh air. Okay, we'll pause for today, but let me share this though, because every little moment I just want to feel and share the appreciations. Almost there. And I really want folks to gird yourselves for some really hard conversations moving in. You see, Union will not be terribly heartbreaking. Yamhill will be hard. And of course, Multnomah, Washington, and Lane are going to be very, very challenging. And we don't have a lot of time together. So we're going to need to figure out a more expeditious way to get through the remaining lots and lots of applications. I don't know how many there are in total, but I'm sure there's over 100. So as folks are coming back together, we're going to need to be really focused and very summary level so that we can get through this, because we got to get these counties recommended so the OACs can finish their decisions by the end of next week. And remember, next week is a 4-day week. So time is coming. And we will get the materials out just as soon as they were ready so folks can do some thinking beforehand and come into the space with some recommendations. Sound good? Okay. Team Measure 110 and OAC, get a little break, and I'll see you in 45 minutes. Everybody else, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.